SpaceX has been working on its Starship project for quite some time, and it's finally close to its first trip to space. The company is about to embark on one of the final technical milestones before its first orbital launch attempt. The next step for SpaceX is a 33-engine static fire, and if it goes well, the Starship could be launched this month. Today, we will go over the specifics of this event, as well as the challenges that SpaceX faces and the potential ramifications of its success. Let's get right into it. SpaceX completed its wet dress rehearsal on January 23rd, and it was an impressive achievement. Both the Super Heavy booster and the Starship upper stage were reloaded with propellants and put through a practice countdown during the rehearsal. SpaceX loaded more than 10 million pounds of propellant onto the vehicle, which stands 120 meters tall when fully stacked. This test was significant for SpaceX because it tested both the rocket and the launch tower, as well as the numerous ground systems needed to pump all of these pressurized cryogenic fluids to reduce risk. Following this test, SpaceX now has one more test before attempting an orbital launch. This is the 33-engine Super Heavy static fire test, in which the booster is secured to a test stand and cannot move while its engines are briefly lit up to test and gather data on how they perform in preparation for the launch. The booster will be lit up with all 33 engines for the first time during this test, and when it ignites, its maximum thrust could jump to 7,590 tons, beating the next powerful rocket in history, the Soviet N-1, by nearly 60%. Although SpaceX tested Booster 7 last year, it only carried a fraction of what the engine was designed to carry. This will be the first time a fully loaded Super Heavy with all 33 engines is ignited in a static fire test. It is a once-in-a-lifetime event in rocketry, and success is far from certain. In fact, the worst-case failure mode could nearly completely destroy Starship's only completed orbital launch site. As a result, SpaceX has been proceeding with caution, and Cameron County, Texas, where Boca Chica is located, has announced long road closures planned for February 6th and 7th on the highway leading to Starbase. Although the county did not specify the reason for the closures, other than non-flight testing, such closures are not uncommon and can be canceled at any time depending on SpaceX's plans. Closures were previously scheduled for January 31st and February 1st, but they were canceled on January 30th. These road closures could be used for static fire testing on Ship 25 instead of or in addition to Booster 7. The Super Heavy is missing an important hydraulic power unit, or HPU, which was removed prior to the wet dress rehearsal, and it's unclear whether static fire testing can be performed without the HPU. It is also unclear how long it will take to replace it, adding uncertainty to SpaceX's already cautious approach. Nonetheless, it appears that SpaceX is only a few days away from attempting Starship's first 33-engine static fire. Both the company and NASA, which is keeping an eye on Starship test activities because the vehicle will be used in the agency's Artemis lunar exploration campaign, have identified the wet dress rehearsal and the 33-engine static fire test as two major remaining milestones before the vehicle is technically ready for an orbital launch. If the test goes well, SpaceX will share the results of this and other tests with the Federal Aviation Administration, which regulates commercial space activities in the United States. The FAA will then review the data to determine whether the Starship is safe to launch into orbit for the first time. If successful, the launch will be a significant milestone for SpaceX, paving the way for future space exploration and potentially opening up new commercial space travel opportunities. However, there are inherent risks in any rocket launch, and SpaceX must carefully navigate these challenges to ensure a safe and successful mission. Because of the high energies and complex systems involved, anything can go wrong during the launch, including engine failures, structural failures, and software glitches. When something goes wrong, the consequences can be disastrous, potentially resulting in the loss of spacecraft, payload, and even human lives. However, Starship is built to withstand all of these issues. It has already gotten a lot of attention because of its potential to revolutionize human spaceflight. However, its impact on solar system exploration could be just as significant. Purdue University planetary scientist Ollie Bramson said that Starship would potentially change the way that we can do solar system exploration. planetary science will just explode. The capabilities of the rocket could enable missions to Neptune and its largest moon in the outer solar system, as well as novel methods of protecting the Earth from incoming asteroids. The massive Starship is made up of a massive spaceship atop a massive booster known as Super Heavy. Both can return to Earth and be reused, lowering the cost of future missions. Elon Musk, CEO of SpaceX, has already spoken publicly about the project's scientific potential. In a virtual meeting hosted by the U.S. National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine, Musk said, "It is extremely important that we try to become a multi-planet species as quickly as possible. Along the way, we will learn a great deal about the nature of the universe." Musk noted that Starship could carry a lot of scientific instrumentation on flights, far more than is currently possible. The fact that Starship is designed to be not only large, but also inexpensive to launch is central to many of these ideas. This low cost could allow for many more missions than expensive launches by agencies such as NASA and ESA. The University of California, Berkeley lecturer in physics Andrew Westphal said, "The low cost of access has the potential to really change the game for science research, with the possibility of flights costing as little as $2 million per launch." One significant advantage is that the Starship could transport full-sized equipment from Earth. This eliminates the need to miniaturize it to fit into a smaller vehicle, as was required for the Apollo moon missions. This would allow for unprecedented access to the interiors of the Moon and Mars, which are thought to contain ice and other useful resources. The sheer volume of samples that Starship can return from various locations is one of the most exciting possibilities. The ability to return such massive amounts of material would provide Earth scientists with unprecedented access to extraterrestrial matter. This could shed light on numerous mysteries, including the volcanic history of the Moon and the question of life and astrobiology on Mars. CONEX, an international group of scientists, has developed an Arcanum concept, which would use Starship's heavy lifting capabilities to launch a self-sustaining spacecraft to our nearest neighbor, Alpha Centauri. The goal of Arcanum is to develop a propulsion system capable of transporting a spacecraft at 20% the speed of light. This means that the trip from Earth to Alpha Centauri, which is 4.37 light years away, would take slightly more than 20 years. Arcanum's propulsion system would generate heat with a small, self-contained nuclear reactor, which would be used to create a plasma jet. The plasma would then be expelled from the spacecraft's back end to generate thrust. The system is known as a nuclear fusion rocket engine, and it's capable of producing 10 times the thrust of chemical rockets. The spacecraft would be self-sustaining, with all of the necessary systems and equipment to support life on board. A closed-loop life support system that recycles air and water, as well as food-growing systems, would be included. The spacecraft would also be equipped with an advanced communication system that would allow it to send data back to Earth. Arcanum is not a novel concept. In fact, scientists have been researching interstellar travel for decades. However, SpaceX's development of Starship has made sending a self-sustaining spacecraft to another star system more feasible. There are still many obstacles that must be overcome before Arcanum can become a reality. The nuclear fusion rocket engine, for example, has yet to be developed. The spacecraft would also need to be able to withstand the harsh environment of space, as well as the long journey to Alpha Centauri. We hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe, like the video, and watch these ones as well.